Art.
I'm Wade.
I'm Travis.
And I'm Vanessa.
She was ready to throw her name in there. Interject. Muscle memory.
And this is Late to the Party, and we are presenting
Better Late Than Never.
Better Wade than ever.
Better Wade Than Never. Wade Stai. He has picked our October Halloween-themed movies. Last year we did movies that were spectacular to Halloween Day.
Spectacular.
Spectacular to movies that were on Halloween Day. He has brought us some good fashion horror flicks.
Old-fashioned horror flicks. Depending on your age, but
True.
70s and 80s. Wade, this is a step out of the 70s and 80s theme we've been on so far.
Yes, this is a movie that whenever anyone asks me, what's a good horror movie that I don't know about, that I haven't seen yet, I always throw this down. The Descent would be one that I would throw down, but I always throw down Session 9.
Session 9. In a weird rectangular thing.
Yes, a weird rectangular thing. Check that out, boys and girls. If you don't know what this is a VHS tape.
You smell it? It smells like Blockbuster.
Oh, it really does.
Delicious.
And it smells like Video Update.
Video Update.
Video Update, everybody.
Mark Ellis right there.
So
Video Update presented us with many a VHS, and one of the VHSs, one of the last VHSs to hit the scene, Session 9. I mean, everything kind of changed back then when we were going into a new age of horror. Paranormal Activity was starting to take over the box office, but there were some films that were still coming out that were deep-seated in the vein of true classic horror.
Yes.
So this one was released August 10th of 2001. So more recent versus the 80s movies that we were looking at before. Who is this directed by?
Brad Anderson.
Brad Anderson.
Yeah, who directed Trans-Siberian, The Machinist with Christian Bale, Lost All the Crazy Weight.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah, quite a few little indie movies, especially.
I have no idea how much it made, or how much this movie cost to make.
Independent.
This was super independent, and it was one of the first movies to be shot in high definition.
24 frames per second.
In digital video versus film.
One of the very first
Wikipedia.
One of the very first films for HD, and it was shot entirely on location at the Danvers Mental Institution in Massachusetts, which was at the time completely abandoned. And the guys that wrote it and directed it here, they drove by it on a regular basis, and they kept seeing this big creepy building, and so they were like, we got to do something with this thing. So
did they leave all the stuff in there? And
prop. A lot of the stuff that was in there was actually found on site.
Yeah, they didn't have to dress it.
So creepy.
Yeah, they didn't have to dress it whatsoever.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the original trailer for Session 9.
I have no idea what we're looking at.
Me neither. I've never seen the trailer, but I did see the movie.
Oh, USA.
It's beautiful.
It's pretty on the outside.
Oh, just like me.
Lunatic.
I don't think that's politically correct.
I gotta get construction crews in here by Columbus Day, so you got a guesstimate how long? With 4 really good guys, 1 week, we're gone. That's fast. I need the job.
So the loonies are outside in the real world, and here we are with the keys to the loony bin, boys.
You might actually want to be grateful.
Josh Lucas.
To make some decent money.
And pre-CSI Miami, David Caruso.
Ow!
Oh, you never know. Nothing's good when they go negative.
Remember what happened 24 years ago.
Use your imagination.
These shrinks figured that with these new techniques they designed, they could release hidden memories.
You got to hear me.
You okay?
I want to go home.
I wouldn't tell anybody about this. If they find out about Hank, they're going to find out about the others.
What are the others?
It's one of my criticisms about the film. Best part of the movie.
I want to come home. I am so sorry.
And that's all you get.
Yep.
And that is all you get.
Big on atmosphere, and that location sells the whole movie.
Okay, so let me just start by saying, like, we did talk about how we love the fact that they are all on location, and that the story, that the building itself is also part of the story and not just a set piece there. Like, it is like a character on its own.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it too, because it surrounds itself within that atmosphere of being in a creepy old asylum. Like, it's creepy.
It definitely holds true throughout the entire film that we are at this legitimate location. The character is being created out of all the characters are being created within this manifestation, this human built, what we thought was a hospital to help people, but ended up not quite being that. That's terrifying to me. I love when any movie, House on Haunted Hill, like when they go to a mental hospital and that is the basis for the environment, they definitely do add that level of terror, but this one isn't so much in the vein as all those others that you have seen in the past. Now Travis, you've never seen the movie, this is your first watch of the trailer.
I would see this movie off of the trailer. However, this trailer showed very slow moving. Like, it didn't seem like it's going to be very action-packed or even scary, but intriguing is what this trailer gives me. I would see it. I've read the synopsis of what this movie is about, so it is very intriguing. I would see it based upon this trailer.
Now wait, we have seen the movie, myself and Vanessa and you. Why is this the best horror movie to introduce people in your eyes?
Okay, there's a couple of things with this movie. Number one, it's very much, I equate it most to The Shining.
Really?
In almost every single way, it is like a modern equivalent of The Shining.
The original
100%.
Shining
Yes.
from Stanley Kubrick.
Yes, in every way. You look at this, the set pieces, the actors, and the funny thing is, for a low-budget movie, the acting is outstanding. They got a bunch of top-notch actors who were not at their prime at that point. Josh Lucas hadn't done anything huge at that point. David Caruso hadn't gone to CSI Miami yet. So you've got him in a career slump. So it's kind of like they just grabbed these guys who they could get and then put them in this situation. I love how much of it is mental. It's just an exercise in mental gymnastics, the whole thing. It's extremely atmospheric too. And this location is just dripping with darkness and dread, and it's a real place. And it was, now it's been, I'm sure, remodeled and torn down and whatnot. But when they filmed this is how it really looked. It's a time capsule of how this thing looked. The only set piece, if I recall correctly, they had to build was the morgue, the mortuary, the morgue scene. Apparently that was a set, and then they had to recreate the tombstones for the graveyard because the bodies had been moved, because there was actually a graveyard on site that they had to recreate.
Shit, that in itself is just creepy. Just knowing the facts of how this movie was made is creepy.
Yeah, they ended up tearing down the entire place like 5 years after the movie came out. It was all destroyed.
Around 2006?
Yeah, you can actually see videos of it online of them pulling down like the watchtower and everything. I don't know if some of it is saved.
Some of it.
Yeah, some of it, because it's like if you look at it, they describe it as bat wings in the movie, and it really is.
Sure.
There's a central building, and then it kind of spreads out. They tore down part of it. I think they kept part of it for like public works and that kind of thing.
For movies that want to go in and do a horror film?
Yeah, seriously.
Because you can't replicate this kind of creepiness that is built into the halls of this film, and that's why you say The Shining, and I was waiting to get my Shining out there. Wade got it first, because it is something that does kind of come across with The Shining as well. It's the hotel. The Overlook Hotel is as much of a character in the film as the characters within the film. But I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes down to the supernatural aspects of this film, there really isn't any. There's none across the board. It is atmospheric, it is mental, it is all about our minds and what these guys end up doing in this film, and the result that we get at the end is far from supernatural. But because of its set in actual reality, that's what makes it frightening, because it can absolutely happen. That's what I love about certain horror films, are the ones that I can actually equate to. I am afraid of going into abandoned places for fear of squatters, hobos, psychos, crazy people that could live in a place like that day by day by day. It's the fear of the unknown in these abandoned places that frightens me, and that's what this movie stands for.
I give you credit. You have followed me into some crazy places before.
I know, and I thank myself every day that I didn't die. I thought it was going to happen.
Did you die?
Now, speaking of abandoned buildings and squatters and creepiness, I don't want to side rail the conversation. Have you ever seen a movie called Cropsy?
No, I have not seen Cropsy.
You need to look up Cropsy.
See, he's got a whole treasure trove of them.
No, Cropsy is a freak show of, it's a true story. And
but this
pseudo documentary.
This film is very much a slow burn, like some of the ones we've talked about in the past. Now, Vanessa, watching this movie, not your favorite.
No.
Why am I on camera with this movie?
Although I will be frank that like when we were watching it, I was just kind of like, okay, this is just a story. But then as it got closer to what's going on, and it very well is going in the frame of what we've been watching. It's like very slow burn to get to these characters. We kind of are, I guess, like tipping the iceberg a little bit of all of these characters. We don't really know what's going on with them, but yet they're here, they're doing this job, and then you can kind of go in a little bit with all of them, but at the same time, it starts to get a little bit better towards the end of the movie. Although, to be fair, I was like, oh, I know that guy. Like, it's interesting to see characters or these actors that you've known from other things that they're more popular with, and see some things that they've done beforehand.
For instance, the main guy is...
Yeah, Peter Mullen. He plays Corbin Yaxley in Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2. So
she picked it up right away. I had no clue.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, I know him. Where's he from? Harry Potter? Yeah, and then you got David Caruso in there, like you said, before CSI Miami.
Josh Lucas.
Josh Lucas!
To be fair, though, 2001, roughly around the same time when he was... I guess this movie came out before that, but then you also had Hulk.
And Sweet Home Alabama.
And then Sweet Home Alabama. But Hulk came out around this time, 2002, 2001, so he had that too.
It's interesting that I get the view of you liking it, and you obviously liking it because you recommended it to someone who didn't really care for it too much, but did enjoy watching it. And as someone who hasn't watched it, I'm literally caught in the middle here.
It definitely is. It definitely is something you do have to set your creative thinking side on. I mean, you really have to just kind of realize that you're not going to get your typical grave encounters, or you're not going to get your, House on Haunted Hill.
So is this not one of those films where I'm going to be like, when the music stops, I'm going to go, what's going to come?
Oh no, but that brings up a very good point of something I love and both hate about this movie, and I even mentioned it during the trailer, is that there are things that I absolutely hate about this movie, which is they use those old school sound bites of the people screaming. Yeah, like the stock screams that you find on like Rocco Modern Life. Like they'll throw them in there.
Everything.
And I'm like, why can't you just have the actress that you have right there scream for you on camera and use that? But instead you use the stock screams that we've heard a million times in a whole bunch of different ones. That's what killed me about like Broken Arrow, when Howard Long gets kicked out of the train. And it's a scream that you hear in every single movie.
I use that in my Twitch streams.
See, as a joke. As a joke. So when they use it in this movie, it kills me. But one thing about this movie that is, I think, the most frightening leading up into what is actually happening is the transitions. The transitions get freaky from one scene to the next. And you're like, what is happening?
Wait, transitions? You mean like Star Wars sideswipe?
Take the sideswipe portion and input a weird audio, weird sound effects, weird visual imagery flash, and then you're into the next scene.
The movie gets more distorted as it goes along.
Correct.
It is a similar structure to The Shining too, where you've got like specific days or time passage that's marked out as the story evolves. I will say though, again, the location in this is key, and the thing is, so many bad horror movies are set in asylums. So many super tacky, super cheesy.
It's an easy place to attack.
It's an easy place, but don't get me wrong, those are all fun movies, but this is operating on a much higher level than a lot of those movies are.
I
don't want to spoil the movie, but I do like the aspect of like, one of the characters going and finding these tapes. And he kind of starts to immerse himself in the tapes and going from one session to another session of all of these tapes. And that's what I really like too, is like I like having that kind of story behind it as well. And he's listening. That's what intrigued me too. And I was like, okay, let's get to another session, because I want to know what the doctor's talking to this character. Who has
and how the building and the history. And the history of the building consumes each character in a different way. It affects everyone in a different way, and to the point, especially you'd referenced the scene in the tunnel.
100%.
The scene in the tunnel is one of the most just frightening moments in the entire movie. And by that point, though, you've been built up to this dread of that scene, and you're just like, oh, you know it's coming, and it still makes the hair on your back stand up.
And visually, it's pretty awesome. You see it in the trailer. The lights are going out behind the guy as he's running through a tunnel.
And he can't outrun the darkness.
And there is something deep-seated within his character in which darkness is actually a horrible thing for him. So you see that take place. At the same time, one of the fascinating aspects of the human mind that I find terrifying as well as beautiful is dissociative identity disorder, which is multiple personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple personalities. Now, granted, it's not identity, where identity puts that at the forefront. This is more in tune with what is going on in the backstory of this place. But dissociative identity disorder plays a part in the human psyche, and at what point does that human psyche break and you get psychosis, psychotics, crazy murderers, doing things that are absolutely horrible. And I know that the director created this movie based off of an actual crime that did take place back in the day of a guy who just lost it. And the details of it are actually quite frightening. And he said that just kind of taking that and bringing it into this already is frightening. I know that appeals to you on a high level, especially some of the work you've done in the past with your short stories.
Yeah, this is a super fun project. I mean, like I said, the movie itself, when you really look at the structure of it, it's so scary because, like you said, it's grounded very much in reality. No matter how much you want it to be some supernatural ghost story, there's elements of it, but the bulk of it is entirely based on grounded science and fact.
Humans.
And human failure and just our breakdown and what triggers a breakdown for people.
What makes them snap?
Yeah. You know, the trigger, you know, it's and like I said, and for that level alone especially, watch this sucker late at night, turn out the lights, you know, and pay attention to it, because you can't turn your brain off and just kind of zone out with this movie. It demands your attention.
Yeah,
so
it definitely hangs on every image, every scene, every dialogue, and it does end up building suspense. And I know that there are certain aspects of it that maybe don't hit as well in terms of mainstream cinema, because it is very independent.
Yeah.
They didn't have the budget. They didn't have the best, you know, writing when it came down to it, because there are certain things that you wish were there that aren't there. Versus something that does behold perfection in terms of some of the best horror movies out there. That's why it did not get as much critical acclaim, but it is known as a cult classic within the realm of horror films, at least more recent.
Well, I am
films.
completely torn. I do want to see it to get my own opinion on it. So I just have one question. With this more recent movie, how is this affecting any of your upcoming projects?
This movie is just a love for me. I just love this movie. As far as the how it's affecting my projects, and again, I'm working on the same level independently as these guys were. I mean, this is a very small budget movie with, at that point, you know, again, like I said, a cast of people who hadn't been in, you know, they weren't at their A game, let's put it that way. So the project I'm working on right now is a movie called Friday Night Frights, and it is a 5-part anthology movie that's set in a video store. So for those of you who aren't familiar with what a VHS tape is, kids, you can go back in time and get your rental card.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but my memory shares. Isn't that supposed to be blue?
Well, this is Atomic Video.
For legal reasons.
Not
Legal
Blockbuster.
reasons. And if you guys actually, let me see this card really quick. If you guys go to atomicvideostore.com, you can sign up for a membership for free. It's absolutely free. And I send you guys one of these awesome little cards in the mail, which gets you access to all kinds of fun stuff.
Sweet, like video rentals?
Yeah, well, sort of, yeah. Exactly.
Now, it actually has Friday Night Frights on this. What movie is on it?
Oh, God, I don't even know what movies are.
That's the trick. That's what I want to know now.
Yeah,
I hope it's Look Who's Talking Too.
I've got behind-the-scenes photos that you can see, and I've got shots of me standing in front of towers of VHS tapes, taller than me, and I'm 6'3", and it is one of those deals where I have to recreate on a budget an entire mid-'80s video store. All VHS has to be all period accurate. And
right, so you're not going to have Broken Arrow.
Right, and so it's like, and I do have those, but I have to like fill those way in the background to fill shelves. So there's a huge process involved in making this, but it's very similar in terms of the location being a huge factor. So when it's finally all done, the Atomic Video does play a huge part in the actual overall story of the movie, so in much the same way the Asylum does.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Wade, you're definitely putting the passion and love into what is horror. And if you guys check out what he has, all at his websites down in the description of this video, you can find them all there. You can also like and subscribe.
And do the thing on our Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Stardust.
All the social networking gin joints, you know where they are. Kick into the party, fuel the party, keep the party going on our Patreon. Gets us where we need to go. Just went to Halloween Horror Nights. Check out the vlog that we did there. So much fun. Halloween is almost here. We've got one more to go with Wade, and we can't wait for it. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you, Wade.
Thank you, guys.
And as always, now it's time to say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.